Hey guys, happy 4th here. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make an emissive tileable material, a sci-fi tileable material for Unreal Engine 4, and we are going to be doing this using Quixel Suite 2. We are not going to be doing any sort of modeling. We'll directly be creating our normal maps inside Endo, and then we'll convert it into an AO map and a diffuse map using Endo itself. Then we're going to be painting a material ID map in Photoshop, and then we'll be importing all of them inside Dido, and there we'll be painting our tileable material. So here you can see in the material editor inside Unreal Engine 4 that we have this sort of material. We're gonna be not making exactly this, but something like this, right? So let me just reduce the emissive values a bit so you can see the texture properly. Okay, so you can see the texture properly now, and we're going to be achieving something like this inside Quixel and Photoshop and using nothing else. So let's get started. Let's get started with the first step. Our first step would be to create a normal map using Endo 2. So if you are new to Endo 2, or this is your first time using Endo 2, I suggest you take a look at this PDF that is available online. Just give a search Endo 2 workflow, and the first search result would give you this PDF. It gives you an in-depth look of what is Endo 2 and what it can do. It's really a powerful tool for creating normal maps and then converting them into AO, specular, height map, cavity map, etc. Right? So let's get started with creating our normal map. So here I've launched up Quixel Suite 2, and let's start by creating a new project inside Endo 2. So here is my project creator menu. There is no default material, there is no bake normals. I'm gonna make a 2K normal map, and I'm just gonna select an output path. I'm gonna name it TM, which stands for tileable material, and then I'm gonna create a new project. Now what this will do is provide me with an empty normal on which I can start creating my normal layers. So the most basic way to create a normal layer is through selections. Right, so let's create something very basic. I'm not gonna make something super complex here because this is just to show you the workflow and to get you started with Endo 2 or Quixel Suite in general for UE4. Right, so let's get started. So you can see that I have a new layer here, and I have just selected an area. Now what I need to do here is convert my selection into a normal. So you can select any part of your normal and then just press the center button. What this will do is create it into a normal, right? In my previous video where I show you how to texture a sci-fi door using Quixel Suite, I talk a bit about Endo 2 as well, right? So I'm gonna be setting some of these properties here, just shifting them a bit up and down, so you can see some different kind of results. So just trying out different curves, but what we're doing is making kind of a sci-fi panel, so I would like to keep the curve as linear and the shape as either chiseled or chiseled shallow. Sorry about that. So let's increase the size a bit. Yeah, that looks good. Now let's press Alt and copy that layer to the other side. Because we want to make this a tileable map, I think symmetry is something good here, right? So, okay, now let's create a new layer. And let's give a new selection. right there. Fine. Now let's convert this to a new normal layer, and I'm gonna set the slant to down, and I'm gonna increase the size a bit. So because I'm gonna show you how to make an emissive sci-fi material, I'm gonna set this path, not the path, sorry, this new normal that you just saw, this layer, which I set the slant to down, I'm gonna set that part to an emissive light. So that thing is gonna show up as a light, right? Alright, so let's copy this layer as well to the other side. And I'm gonna create just one more layer here, nothing too fancy. Okay, and then to negate our selection, right? Fine, I think something like this would do. So let's create a new normal layer. Right, and then we can increase the size a bit. I'm gonna set it to chisel shallow, make it, tighter, and yeah, I think everything else looks great. I'm just gonna check for some emboss right here. Okay, yeah, I think this looks good, and it's good for a basic demonstration right here. So I think this is it for a normal map. I know it's very simple, but you get the basics and you can start applying the basics to your complex normal maps and creating whatever complex geometry you want, right? So I'm just gonna save my file here, right? So in the next segment, we're gonna be converting this into an AO map, and then we're gonna be creating a material ID map. Alright, so now we have our basic normal map ready. We are gonna be converting this normal map into an AO map using the map converter inside Endo 2. Now this map converter gives you several options to convert your normal to different maps, including height and cavity and specular and diffuse, and similarly convert your cavity to different maps and height to different maps. Now we're going to be converting our normal map to AO map using, I've set the tileable to, I've checked the is tileable option, and I'm going to convert the active dock to an AO map now. So here is our AO map that Endo 2 has generated from our normal map. These are basically three options that you can tweak, and these do have sub options for tweaking, but I just play around with the three major ones and don't go into the sub options because that's not really needed most of the time, and not at this stage when our normal map is really this simple. So I'm just gonna darken the shadows out a bit, and I'm gonna make them a bit fine, right? So this is fine for a basic AO map at this point. So let us save this as a PNG. I have already done that, and you can see I have a PNG tm_AO right here. And similarly, I have saved out our normal map as a PNG as well. That's just a preference. I like to save out my maps as PNGs, right? So I have my normal and AO here. Next, we are going to be building our material ID maps and our emissive maps. So they're going to be 2K as well. So let's open up a blank 2K file. Right, I'm going to bring in the normal map for creating our material ID map. Let's rasterize this, create a new layer, and then what we're going to do is, let's magic wand, okay, control D, there, 1, 2, 3, 4. So fine. So what material ID map does is is actually a collection of masks which allows us to apply different materials to different parts of our normal map inside Dedo, right? So I'm gonna just color this part as red because I want red here, and similarly we're gonna be separating this into different parts here, right? So I already have created the entire map, and this is our map right here, and you can see that the red part I just colored is right here, and this yellow part is what will be the going to be the emissive part, right? Now, yeah, so we have 1 2 3 4 different colors here, so we're going to be applying 4 different materials inside Dedo. Okay, so let's close this, and so you get how to create your material ID maps. Now for creating your emissive maps, this central part here on both sides is gonna emit light. So we're gonna select that both, and we're gonna paint it white. Now the rest, we're gonna actually forgot to switch layers there, and the rest we're gonna paint it as black. Right, so let's select black. There we go. Control D, and there it is. So this is our emissive map, right? Inside Unreal Engine, whatever the white part is, it will emit light, and whatever the black part is, it won't. Right? So we're gonna save our material ID map and our emissive map as PNGs too. I already did that here. CTM_EM for emissive mask, and CM_material ID for our material map, right? So our next step would be to bring in our maps and start texturing them, or start providing more normal details and create the diffuse texture inside Dedo, right? So let's get on to it. So our next step is to start texturing our sci-fi panel using Dedo, right? So I'm gonna close all our maps that are open, right? And I'm gonna launch Dedo here. Now we're gonna be creating a new project here. We don't need to provide any meshes. We will select a material, and where are our materials? It's inside TM, right? So we'll start with a material ID map here. We'll start with a normal map here, and the next one is our AO map here. The emissive map will only be using inside Unreal Engine, and it won't be used inside Dedo. Right, so our output maps are albedo, metalness, roughness, and the edited normal map, and the size is automatically set to 2K. The export target is UE4, and I have my save folder selected here, right here. Okay, so let's create the project. Just give it a minute to set everything up. And texturing in Dedo right now in this video is going to take time, right? So let's launch up 3Do as well. I'm going to be shifting this to another screen. You can see the normal map loaded up here. So first we'll set our light to Unreal Engine 4, which is more suitable, and we'll switch on the headlight so we can get a better view. Let's reduce the light intensity a bit, and for tileable materials, either you can use a cube or you can use something like a cylinder to view the tileability, right? So let's keep it a cube for now, and I'm gonna take this to another screen, right? And I'm gonna be showing this to you after I apply each material. So let's get started. Now first, for the base green part that we have on our material ID map, I am gonna select a painted machine right here. So there it is, a painted machine. I'm gonna keep our panel overall in sort of a blue color, right? So let it create the new smart material. There it is. Now you can see right here that it has been applied to the entire panel, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to select the group, and then we're going to click on the small box right here, and we're going to select the color. Now these are the colors that we have painted in our material map, so these are going to be working as separate masks. So if I choose the green part, it will be only applied to the part which I have colored green. See right there, looks great, right? So let's change up the color a bit. Blue, and probably a little less saturated and a little darker would do. Okay, right. Okay, so next I'm gonna be selecting something like pure iron for the center part. Iron, where is it? Pure iron. Okay, there it is. Pure iron. So this central part is gonna be pure iron. Okay. So again, we need to mask this out. Sorry about that. Now, this one was red. Okay. So the red part here is our pure iron. Next, I'm gonna be coloring these on the side. So I'm gonna be selecting something like a brushed steel kind of substance. Applying. Okay, looks nice. So I'm going to be applying this brushed steel material to the blue part. Okay, and okay, looks alright. And we have a last material to give based on our material ID mask, and I think I'm gonna keep it something like glass. It doesn't really matter what you keep it, because it's gonna emit light and you won't be able to see the material underneath it eventually. So I'm just gonna keep it plexiglass right now, and I'm gonna just change the colors on these a bit. Okay, so yellow, fine. Okay, looks good, basic, nothing too fancy. Just make the colors a bit darker, like this blue one right here. Right, so make it a bit darker, and we'll change the iron color as well. We're going to shift it to a bit more saturated color, so looks alright. Check through the intensity right here. Okay, so let's keep something like a similar color for iron at least. Reduce just. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. So yeah, that looks nice. And then yeah, I think this will do for our demonstration purposes right here. Looks nice, and we're gonna check it on a cylinder as well. Right, okay, looks good. Okay, so now that everything is textured, oh wait. So next I'm gonna add up a rust kind of material just to give it another layer. Okay, rust and rust. There it is. Okay, so that's too much. So I'm gonna choose a new mask for this rust layer, and I'm gonna just set it on the edges so it gives a nice feel. So we have this default masks right here, and I'm gonna be selecting the edges mask, right, and I'm gonna accept it. I'm not gonna edit it much, right? So increasing the intensity, you can see the subtle changes the rest layer has added on the sides. Actually, they're actually popping out a bit. Okay, so that's fine for now. And yeah, you can add more dirt layers and stuff to make your, break up the evenness of the paint and make your material a bit more believable and stuff. So this will do right now. So next I'm gonna open up the exporter, and here you set your path, you set the material name, and then set the target, and you export your maps, right? I've already exported my maps, so our next step is going to be importing our maps inside Unreal Engine 4 and setting up everything in there finally. So for this last step, I have opened up Unreal Engine 4. Now I'm gonna be importing all of our textures inside Unreal Engine 4 right there. And then I'm gonna be bringing in our emissive mask right there, and now I'm going to be creating a new material, right? So let's name this TM, Tileable Matte, and let's open it up. Now I'm gonna be bringing all of our 6 textures inside the material, right? We have our textures right here. Now we're gonna start setting up our material. So let's plug the maps in the respective channels. Normal there, ambient occlusion goes right there, ambient occlusion, right? And which one is this one? Roughness, right? So, and this one would be the metalness. So the metalness map goes here, the roughness map goes here. This is a very basic setup, and we haven't tweaked the textures themselves. Just plugging in the textures into our main material node, right? So these, move them up a bit so you can see the wires clearly. I'm going to select these and move them down a bit, right? So what we're going to do next is we're going to create a texture coordinate node, right? So we can set the UNV of this node to make the material more tileable. We're going to plug this into every texture, including our emissive maps. And there. Now what we're going to do is create a new vector 3, or a constant 3, sorry, constant 3 vector. There it is. And we're going to multiply our constant 3 vector with our emissive mask, and then plug the multiplication result into our emissive color right there. Now let me set this up to box so it's better in the preview. And now I'm going to select this something like a blue color right now. So wait up, change color to black, something like blue. Okay, there you can see. Now first, before making this emissive, we need to select the main material node. Then we're going to go into details panel, Then under materials, we have the advanced options open. If you don't have these open, just click on this tab, right, this button right here, to show the advanced material properties, and then you need to select emissive if you want to light your scene with the emissive lighting from the material itself, right? So now I'm gonna select a color. Now you can directly set this to emissive from the color picker itself, so you need to change the values here. uh, Good values would be something about 10, 20. So you can see you're getting the emissive lighting, right? Depends on what type of values you set. If you set something like 1 or 2, you won't get values, emissive values. You need something like 5 or 10 to get started with. 5 gives you a bit emissive color, but 10 is a good start according to me. So I'm going to keep this like 10, and let's keep this 5. Okay, that's not bad at all. Right, now inside this blank scene, I'm gonna save this material first. Right, now inside this blank scene, I'm gonna apply this material to this basic floor that we already have by default. So you can see the material tiles itself, right? The emissive is probably too much, so maybe reduce it a bit. Because we want to see the textures, let's keep it at 1 for now, just because we can see the textures, right? Okay, let's apply this. Alright, so I'm gonna, so now you can see our textures right there. Okay, the camera is moving too fast. Right, so there you can see our textures, and if you want it to be kind of a dark scene, then I guess we can just reduce the intensity of our light source to 0, switch off the fog, light source. Alright, let's create a new scene for a darker part, default map with nothing in it. So let's create a new map. Don't say. So next, let's create a BSB brush box, right? And then we're gonna right, we're just gonna increase the size. Right, now to tile it more, just change the tiling options to texture coordinates here, like 5. Let's keep it 5 cross 5. Right, and just set these so it'll give off something like a blue light. 5, 5. Let's keep this 20. Right, nice. So okay, so you can see the light is slowly building up, and to make it better, to show the light build properly, we can add a light mass importance volume, and then you can build the lighting to find better results. To keep a really bright light, I suggest to pump up all the values between 40 to 80, right? That'll give a really nice light. And let's see this. Okay, 100. See, light is increasing and it gives off more and more light according to the values that you bump up every time. There it is. Okay, so this was the tutorial on creating emissive tileable materials for UE4, sci-fi material to be precise. Okay, so see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.